What you are about to hear is highly classified. In episode number 154 of Zone 4, it's all about the fairy tales. The crew returns to talk about the current trend of fairy tales across media from comics to television and film and much more. Plus, we talk about the second annual Dan Con 2012 coming up on March 4th, 2012 in Orland Park, Illinois. Don't forget to check out the weekly webcomic strip at zone4podcast.com/webcomic, updating every Monday. Our first story is nearly finished. We also give more shout-outs to our faithful Zone 4 Legionnaires from Facebook. If you'd like to like us on Facebook, do that at facebook.com/zone4podcast. We'll get you a shout-out on the show eventually. Our guest this week is, of course, Decapitated Dan. I mentioned DanCon earlier. You can find more information about that at danconcomiccon.com. Orland Park, March 4th. And it's going to be a great show, some great guests, so you don't want to miss this if you're in the area, so check it out. And now, here's a clip from this week's show.
What I found myself thinking was, in looking at this, media spotlight that's all of a sudden being thrown on fairy tales, there's a part of me that sits back and says, well, isn't this very much like the comic book wave of the last 10 years or so? That, for the longest time, we couldn't, Hollywood and television wouldn't touch comic books at all. Or if they did, they didn't know what to do with them. And suddenly, I think with the advent of the first X-Men movie and then Spider-Man, that whole thing became this huge, huge wave, this amazing fad that's still going on to this day, okay? Hollywood always looking, whether for television or a film, always looking for something that they can latch on to, that they can use and convert. Well, all of a sudden, it's like, it's weird why this happens like it does in fads. But I think we're seeing the same kind of thing now. I think we're seeing movie and television studios looking around, again, for classical concepts that they can convert to the big screen or little screen. And for whatever reason, somebody started the ball rolling with, let's do fairy tales, and they're all jumping on the bandwagon. And of course, what we just stated as our last little discussion is this is now moving into Beauty and the Beast, which is clearly another take on the on the fairy tale. So, you know what? If it sells tickets and people enjoy them and they can be done with a little bit of originality, we may see this trend go on for a little while yet.
I don't know. It almost feels like they're flooding, though, because, this year we're going to have 3 different iterations of Snow White. We've got her in Once Upon a Time, like you guys mentioned. And then you mentioned Snow White and the Huntsman. And then we have that Julia Roberts movie that also is based on Snow White, and it's crazy. Dan, I know you're not into fairy tales, but there's some dark stuff in fairy tales, which is your forte. So yeah,
I will throw this out there. Greatest fairy tale movie of all time. Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen that yet.
What?
Yeah.
Man, you have got to remedy that real quick.
Yeah. That's what I've told you.
Yeah. Do that right now, Brant. Why don't we'll handle the podcast. You just go and watch Pan's Labyrinth.
Yep. Find it on Netflix and come back in about 2 hours. We'll be here.
Oh, wait a second. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Is Pan's Labyrinth the foreign film with the subtitles?
Yes.
Yes.
Where the bottle and the breaking the nose and all that stuff?
The bottle and the what?
Yeah, somebody broke somebody's nose with a bottle, kept hitting them over and over again in the face.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen that. I didn't like it. Sorry.
What?
Yeah. I hated that movie.
Then I will bring up Brand's favorite fairy tale movie, which is Shrek.
that I can believe.
Oh. Anyway, Dan, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. It's one of those things where it's funny to me because if you look at something like that horrible Grimm, what was it? It was the Grimm brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think was in that. I don't remember.
It was Heath Ledger and Matt Damon. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that. It's one of those things where I always like the darker takes on the stories and stuff like
Sure.
that. So Red Riding Hood was decent. You know, it's good, nice to look at Amanda Seyfried. Yeah, the Hansel and Gretel one does look pretty cool, but like the TV shows and stuff like that, my TV watching these days is almost down to nothing. So I haven't seen those shows to know, but you know the comic book thing, I got a whole list of comic books here we can go over. But no, I really wanted to throw the Pan's Labyrinth in because I think that people might overlook like the we're not just dealing with American fairy tales at certain
Sure.
points. You got to deal with worldwide fairy tales and stuff like that. But no, I don't know much about the TV stuff.
And if you enjoyed that clip, you can hear the rest of the show later today via zone4podcast.com. You can find us on all the usual channels, which I'll cover in a minute. If you'd like to sponsor an episode of Zone 4, you can do so by emailing us at zone4@comicrelated.com. We also have a great sponsorship package available on the website. If you go to the About page and go to Advertising and Sponsors, you can check it out. All the details are there with sample episodes, rates, and everything else. So check that out and get in touch with us. And, as always, you can find us at zone4podcast.com every week. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/zone4podcast, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter. You can find all the links to these on our website, so please check our website out. And, of course, thanks for listening.